Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my Strikeforce Tate versus Rousey post-fight analysis. As far as picks go, I did get Ronda Rousey beating Miesha Tate, Thompson beating KJ Noons, Sayers beating Scott Smith, Jacare beating Marunde, Kaufman beating Davis, Bowling beating Sailing. Okay, so that's looks like it's 6 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 out of 9 fights. So I did pretty well. As far as the overall card goes, there were some fights that were just like all right. Some finishes were really cool though too. And some fights are just really rad. Like Kaufman versus Davis, that was really good. The Rousey versus Tate fight, that was a really good fight. It doesn't matter by women's standards or men's standards. It was just a really good fight. What else? The other ones, there were some good finishes here. You got to see some arm triangle choke finishes in here. Rosie's arm bars, man. Oh my god. Yeah, she's crazy, man. Connor Hughes losing to Ryan Couture by strikes. Roger Bowling beating his opponent by strikes. So there's a lot to check out. There's some good, really good, some okay, and some some meh stuff on this card. So let's get right to it. Excuse me. Ronda Rousey beat Miesha Tate by armbar in the first round. Man, she got a nasty armbar on Miesha Tate. I don't know if it broke her arm or just dislocated it, but it was not for the squeamish, man. Even my friend didn't want to watch that. One thing that's really interesting with this fight is Ronda Rousey. This is the first time I've seen her in tough positions. It was nice seeing her be able to get, Miesha Tate actually took her back, and she managed to get out of it. She did some. She'd actually grab her foot and lift her foot away so that Rousey can get out of the back. Some of the throws that Rousey did is awesome. Her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really good too. She's good at passing guard. Of course, finding arm bars. She just finds them. One thing is though, with Rousey, man, she can't take a hit. I mean, she does not. She's only 5-0 now, so obviously, but she can't take a hit yet. She does not like to get punched in the face. You can see the way the few times she did get punched in the face, she didn't like it. Her body didn't react very well to it. Rousey's probably gonna fight Sarah Kaufman next, which is a really good fight. Kaufman and Davis had a great fight on the undercard. Originally I kind of thought that Kaufman would probably be able to beat Rousey. To be honest, I think Kaufman would give her more trouble than Tate, and is stylistically, gonna be a lot different fighter than Rousey's fought, because Kaufman does have good takedown defense and good striking, and she fights long too. She does a lot of straight punches and kicks. I just get the feeling that Rousey's gonna be able to get the takedown and eventually the submission victory. The fight itself, like I said, is really good. It was just, there's a lot of back and forth. Tate did really well at times, getting her back. There's a lot of scrambles. It was good. It was a great round, one of the better rounds of fighting that I've seen in a while. Miesha Tate should be back. The division's relatively small. She can get like an Alexis Davis, Amanda Nunes. There's a lot of good fights for her. I'm hoping that Strikeforce rehires Marlos Kunin, and I hope also that they get Sarah McMahon, especially Sarah McMahon versus Ronda Rousey. It would be really cool. And one other thing to talk about really is Ronda Rousey's post-fight speech. It really goes to show how polarizing she is. A lot of people, it's not exactly the most classy, but post-fight, she doesn't really regret, breaking her arm. They didn't kiss or make up, but for me, that was pretty refreshing, to be perfectly honest with you. Hopefully, what this should do for women's MMA too, Rousey's a star, in the making, I think, anyways, and having a win like that armbar, that's just crazy. She's got the personality and the looks too. Definitely going to be interesting to see how Rousey's going to be used moving forward, and just how women's MMA is going to be like in Strikeforce moving forward as well. I wonder if they're going to have, after this, if they're going to have an increased focus on it. Maybe they're going to hire Sarah McMahon and or sign Sarah McMahon and Marlos Kunin. There's other women too out there at 135 as well. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Good win for Ronda Rousey. Next, right after that, Josh Thompson beat KJ Nunes by unanimous decision. After the fight, Josh Thompson said that his performance was shit. And you know what? Good for him for saying it. I'm glad he recognized it. He was off. He had a really long layoff. He almost did get the finish with the arm triangle in the third round. He'd be able to get KJ Nunes on the ground. To Nunes' credit, though, he was really trying to get back to his feet. Once he was against the cage, he couldn't do that one extra thing to really get back to his feet a lot of times. And around the second round, you saw that Nunes was out striking Josh Thompson as well. Thompson should be getting Gilbert Melendez next, and I think Gilbert Melendez will probably win against Thompson. Nunes, he's fought everyone now, but I can see him fight like Carlos Fedor next. So yeah, very, not the best fight, aesthetically pleasing fight, but good win for Thompson nonetheless. Okay, next right after that, Kazuo Misaki beat Paul Daly by split decision. Very interesting, just that Misaki is his first cut to 170, and he did well for himself. He fought a tough guy in Paul Daly, and he outstruck him to the point where Daly had to go for takedowns. I expect Misaki to get, if they go with like Woodley versus Marquardt, I expect Misaki to get the winner of that. If not, Misaki versus either one of the two makes a lot of sense. With Daly, I'd eventually like to see Daly against Marquardt. I think that'd be a really cool fight. If you want to give Daly a comeback fight, you give him like Brandon Saling or something like that. But yeah, there's good fights for Misaki. I think he can also fight like Roger Bowling or Bobby Volker. Jason High is around too. Jason High versus Misaki would be interesting as well. So yeah, which is kind of funny because like thinking about it now, it's like there's actually some talent in welterweight. They just gotta make sure to get him to fight more. I think one of the problems is in general is you just tend to forget some of these guys. It's like, wow, Jason High in Strikeforce. I just thought about it now. Bobby Volker, besides fighting Roger Bowling, who else does that guy fight, Or when does that guy ever fight, So, moving forward, Strikeforce has to get these guys some fights. Lumumba Sayers. Oh, wait, no, he's at 185. But, next fight after that, Lumumba Sayers beat Scott Smith by guillotine choke in the first round. Scott Smith's done, man. I usually don't like to see fighters retire, or I don't like to tell a fighter to retire, but Scott Smith is done, man. I mean, he just got guillotined when he could have got out of that choke. He got slammed in a pro wrestling way. Good win by Sayers. He's never been out of the first round, similar to Rousey in that sense. Win or lose. He's got some good submission skills, good solid wrestling, and good boxing as well. Sayers at 185. He's already fought Brunson. I suppose he can fight Jacare is too much for him. The middleweight's not as stacked as middleweight has no guys. I guess you kind of give someone coming off a loss like an Adlan Amagov versus Sayers or something like that. I guess. Next right after that, Jacare beat Bristol Marunde by submission on triangle choke in the third round. This is all Jacare's fight, really. It's really weird with him because he's fought Luke Rockhold, Tim Kennedy, Robbie Lawler. He was supposed to fight Bronson, but I don't like that fight just because I think Bronson needs to develop before fighting a guy like Jacare. It's really tough to say who he fights next, Can't really say much for Marunde, I mean, it's like I'm fighting Nate James or what other middle weights might be around? Amagov Amagov's too good for Marunde also. So it's really tough to say with Strikeforce who to fight next because there's only so many guys per division. That's the thing. Okay, on to the prelims. Sarah Kaufman beat Alexis Davis by a majority decision. It's a great fight. Really bloody, man. Alexis Davis, she's got a chin on her. But one thing about Kaufman is she is a great technical striker. But she really doesn't turn her hips when she strikes. A lot of her punches, she's kind of square. And then it looks like she throws a lot of arm punches. She throws a lot of volume. They were both a bloody mess. As far as, But Sarah Kaufman is going to fight Ronda Rousey next. I think, I used to think Kaufman could beat Rousey, but now I'm definitely leaning more towards Rousey. With Alexis Davis, though, she looked great. I mean, there was... she lost, but she's not a loser because she had just such a great fight. And if there was a fight that night bonuses, this fight should take it, which is really good for women's MMA. I mean, that's the thing. It's you got two women's MMA fights. One of them was fight of the night. One of them was championship. Was a really good fight in itself. So women's MMA. Definitely was a winner in this fight for sure. With Davis, she's already fought Nunez and Kedzie, if I'm not mistaken. She's probably Misha Tate. That'd be pretty cool. If they have Liz Carmouche, that'd be a good fight. I'm not too sure if she's still with Strikeforce or not. So it's a lot of good fights for Alexis Davis. Okay, next right after that, Roger Bowling beat Brandon Sane by TKO in the second round. It's not much to say. Roger Bowling, he couldn't get past Bobby Volker, but you can tell he's a prospect. He has a lot of energy. He really pushes forward. Really aggressive about his wrestling. His ground and pound's pretty vicious too. Not much I can say about Sailing, to be honest. So yeah, I'll really just leave it at that, to be honest. Next right after that, Pat Healy beat Carlos Fedor by a submission by an arm triangle choke in the third round. Pat Healy does his thing, man. He grinds. He has good wrestling. Veteran savvy, Carlos Fedor was on top. Fedor tried to get up. Healy was holding onto a leg. He got up. Went for the single leg takedown, he's just got a lot of veteran savvy. His striking's not that good, though. But otherwise, he definitely wins. He's a huge lightweight as well. He's on a good winning streak. Carlos Fedor is a really tough fighter, as far as who Healy should get next in lightweight and Strikeforce, geez, I think you'd have to give someone like a Masvidal to Healy. You know, Masvidal's coming off that loss to Melendez, but you gotta give Pat Healy someone kind of high up there. You know, I don't think they're gonna give him like he's already lost to Thompson. So yeah, but Bam Bam, he's doing really well for himself in the division. Fedor, it's back to the drawing board with him. He was on a 5-fight win streak, and I'd say give him like Connor Hune or Ryan Couture next. I think those guys are lightweights, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'd probably give him one of those two next. And Ryan Couture beat Connor Hune by TKO in the 3rd round. Good win for Couture. He was actually getting out-wrestled, you know. He managed to come back. Hune was visibly tired. And Couture pounced, man. He was definitely on the balls of his feet. He was out-striking Hune. You know, and he got the better position, took his back, flattened him, and pounded him out. It's a good win for Couture. Okay, that's pretty much it for my post-fight analysis for Strikeforce Tate versus Rousey. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.